The time, August 2023. The place, Champions, Los Angeles. Loud and PRX, kings of their respective regions, meet on stage for the first time. PRX scores an overtime map win and bounces back from a 13-2 loss and manages to take down the defending champions on a run that sends them straight to the grand final. Hello everyone and welcome back to day 7 of Masters Madrid and our lower bracket semi-final between PRX and Loud. And this is going to be their second meeting here on the global stage, but I'm expecting this one to be fireworks. Hopefully PRX gives us some funnies. Of course, I'm Golden Boy, you got Mimi, you got Kukuka. This is going to be a good one, Kukuka. I'm excited.
Yeah, totally. I mean, after the introduction that you gave, I'm kind of scared to say anything, but also the stakes were different in that time that they made, because as you were saying, it was the upper final, right? It was the upper semi-final, so nobody was going home from there. We're talking about upsets. We will be talking about form in just a minute, but of course, seeing either one of these teams, especially Loud after the standard that we hold them to, would be kind of a surprise to send them home today.
I agree wholeheartedly with that one. I mean, honestly, it's kind of crazy to see that, you know, PRX, a team that we have really valued for them being a creative, innovative team. But this event, Mimi, it is really just felt like PRX has struggled to not just find an identity, but to find a rhythm.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for PRX has been like balancing the confidence, right? In these early interviews at the start of games, it really seems like it's not there. They're not playing like themselves, but continually in big matches, in second halves where it matters, they continue to step up and find that magic at the very last second. That's what brought them here, but what we're looking for today is really consistency from this team. But this is the match for PRX to prove if they're ready to lift a trophy in Madrid.
Couldn't agree more with that one, Mimi. But earlier, Mika Fabs actually got a chance to speak with PRX's Divide. Let's go ahead and take a look.
Hey Divide, what's up? What's up? How are you feeling?
I'm good.
All right, I like the smile, So, Forsaken previously at, I believe, the top of Masters Madrid, rated PRX a 6 out of 10. Now that you've made it to the top 4, would you like to go back and maybe give a score again now that you've come this far?
I think we have to give credits to ourselves. I think now we are like 10 out, about 10, you know, 10 on 10. So yeah, I mean, pretty excited to play Loud, and yeah, you know what L stands for?
What does it stand for?
It means less, so means less coming for us again today.
Good luck out there.
Dude, that's a GV level pun coming out of that one.
I'm offended.
You should feel honored.
I am.
Feel honored.
I'm actually quite proud of him. I'm quite proud of Divide for that one.
But by the way, least confident, like 10 out of 10 I've ever heard. But it's good that he's at least saying that, right? We need to see the PRX fired up for this match.
I mean, especially after what happened yesterday, right? And the way, not the PRX looked, but the way the Gen G made them look.
Oh,
you know, we know that PRX is all about the flashiness, the quick plays, and Gen G had a response for everything, but it is an opponent that they know very well.
I do feel like, though, we learned a little bit more about what Gen G's capable of today than what we saw. So now that makes me wonder what happens here with PRX. Was that a matter of Gen G just flattening people, or is this a PRX team that maybe has a little bit more to show here?
Yes, because I think in previous, yes as in both are true. Gen G look incredible, but PRX, I think in previous matches, we've seen them really push Gen G. That's one where they were making a lot of fundamental mistakes. Players were kind of going off, losing picks. They're taking the normal PRX risks, but against a team like Gen G, with their structure and their firepower, they were ripping that apart.
Yeah, no, it's hard to put into words how just well this Gen G team is playing. I mean, we could probably talk about it all day, and that's why on the other side, you know, you're going to need some players to step up here, right? On the PRX side, you're really looking at Munyet. This guy has truly been impressive, but I'm excited to see him go up against QCK, because I do feel like, Kukuka, that QCK throughout this tournament has grown as a player, and his stonks have definitely risen.
Yeah, let me get my strongly agree card to show with you, because it is crazy what we have seen from QCK, especially like the other day when he was sick, when he had to go to the hospital at the beginning of the day, to then come in here, play the way that he did, and especially the performance that we saw yesterday. I am very happy with what we saw. I think that we have to be very careful how we talk about that Sentinels versus Loud that we saw yesterday, because in the end, it was two very, very close overtimes. And a QCK that overall is feeling super comfortable, that has found his space in Loud, many people have that question of, gonna be better or worse than us, but doesn't matter. He's his own person.
The similarities between these two, I feel like, are kind of endless, right? They both had to fill massive shoes. Jing, the best race player in the world, and Otbus, the best jet player in the world, on the other side. I mean, this year maybe. But comparing these two, both these guys have come in, and they haven't necessarily perfectly filled those shoes, but they have stepped up and found their own place in this team. Both got criticized a ton in their respective kickoffs in the early stages of Madrid, but in the playoffs, in the late group stages, where it really matters, both of these guys have stepped up for their squads.
Exactly. Like, probably the biggest question coming in from Loud into this event is QCK going to be a detriment to them? And I feel happy that all of that people can be quiet for a second.
Oh, for sure. I mean, honestly, if Sadok's telling me that this is what they wanted, I believe Sadok. Speaking of, actually, I'm actually quite excited to send it back over to Mika because we're going to hear from the Capitan himself, Sadok, as we get ready for this matchup.
He's good.
Hey Sadok, how's it going? How are you feeling?
Feeling super good.
Feeling super good. Love to hear it. So last time you guys went up against PRX, PRX came out on top. So what do you think you learned from that match that you think will be important in this one?
They're gonna be super crazy. So yeah, we're just gonna have to be super aware of what they are going to do at the start of the round and be prepared.
Out crazy the crazy?
Super crazy.
All right, excited to see it. Good luck.
Thank you, thank you.
These are definitely two teams that are going to be fighting here with very, well, unique forms, I would say, coming into this one, maybe.
Yeah, I think the last two matches for these squads was very different. For Loud, this was a game that came down to the wire. It was a second away from getting defuses. It was one clutch making the difference for Loud ending up losing that, versus a PaperX that's coming into this one after getting stomped by Gen G.
Yeah, so many of these rounds come to close to nothing when we're talking about, as you mentioned, in those retakes, they do not go their well for literally less than a second.
Yeah.
And time after time, it's not the kind of thing that just happens once. But for PaperX, I feel like yesterday, Genji just showed every single weakness that they had. And talking about vaults and talking about what Lakia was saying in the interview, there's so much you can learn about how to exploit those mistakes in PaperX that is very scary to go up against Loud today.
Yeah, I think PaperX are definitely going to have to dial down some of these individual risks they're taking, especially if they're shooting like they were against Gen G.
Big question to ask.
Yeah, I mean, giving away those opening kills, giving away those opportunities is the reason that PaperX ended up getting rolled in the way that they did. Loud is another team with fantastic fundamentals that will punish those mistakes.
Yeah, I can't help but feel like PaperX just really wants to try and like be, you know, ridiculous, and they kind of have to not do that this time around.
I love this lower third about talking about the pistol, because I think that is also a very important part of what is happening. Even though they are the two best pistol round teams in the entire event, for Loud, definitely yesterday it was not there on the first two maps. It was very complicated for them to push through all of that. Of course, but for PaperX, it was the other way around. They got pistols and not much else.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be fascinating to see how both of these teams compare against one another. But for now, though, let's send it down to the stage and bring out our teams for this epic battle.
Bienvenidos a Madrid. Eso no.
Loud.
No confiaron, pero mira, no. Llego con los míos y la grada explota. Le di la razón al que me quiso ver bien. Lo soñé en mi habitación y ahora en primera me ven. No te hablo del avión. Vine por mi cinturón.
PRX.
No confiaron, pero mira, no. Llego con los míos y la grada explota. No confiaron, pero mira, no. Llego con los míos y la grada explota.
It's the unique and bombastic team from Pacific in PaperX going up against the well-oiled machine in Loud. But the question on everyone's mind here is, does that man right there, Sadok in the middle, have the plan to shut down a team that sometimes doesn't even know what their plan is.
Yeah, Sadak has done this before. He always leads teams to these top-level events, but last time, PRX eliminated them. We're into the map select, and we are starting with Ascent, which is wild to me. Both these teams play ridiculous comms. Loud was locking the Yoru. We see a Gecko from PRX there. I think that this is a match of two teams with incredibly unique reads on the game.
I think that the surprise comes even before that. Loud banning Split throughout the entire year. They have been banning the Breeze, now coming into here. They ban on the Lotus. Definitely feels that they want to adapt more onto the opponent just to, you know, besides showing that they're weak on the map.
But PRX also hasn't been willing to play that map, and they get rid of it towards the end, which means we get to land on Bind here, which I think is also going to be a really interesting map. Historically, some great calling from Sadak on that one. But that's been honestly my favorite map from PRX's tournament. I love the way they play that Harbor comp. They haven't won all the maps they've played it yet, but I think they have some great ideas that are really tough to deal with your first time playing into it.
Can we get to 3 though? I think that's the thing that I'm wondering is, can we get to 3, or are we going to see Loud kind of do what Gen G did to PRX?
I feel like for both of these teams, we have the question of if they're going to make it through, are they serious contenders to making it all the way through and take on Sentinels tomorrow, right? We need a convincing win for either of them.
I think that this map number 1 is really going to decide this series.
Totally.
I think Loud is pretty favored when we get to Sunset, but this first map, I could see it going either way. Both these teams have looked really good at times, have looked really shaky at times on Ascent. I think PRX need to win this map. If they get to 3, I honestly favor them in this series.
Yeah, and of course, I think that fundamentally Loud should have the upper hand coming into this Ascent, knowing that is, you know, the more basic map in those terms. Now, if PRX, like shenanigans, all the crazy rounds that they put, are able to disrupt that confidence onto Loud, I can see them taking this 2-0.
Yeah, and if they... I mean, look, I feel like no matter how you go here, one thing is for certain, it's that there's going to be just moments of absurdity on each side. Players are going to be pulling off some wild plays, but where I'm looking at here, I want to see if QCK is going to get rattled by a very aggressive PRX team, and if PRX, well, if they manage to find ways to kind of like wiggle around the brain of Sadak.
You got to look at the newcomers. You're talking about QCK. I'm looking at Munyet. What can he do in map 1? We're into the agent select, and PRX is running back this double initiator raise comp, and Loud have returned from the Yoru back to the Phoenix.
I like the Phoenix.
Who would have said, you know, that in 2024, no Sova, no Jet, this is a new way that Ascent is going to be played. I personally really like the Gecko and the Fade as a combo. I think that the information and the hurdling that you can do, all the flooding that you can do with the utility and how recurrent it can be, gives you an amazing edge. And I do think that Loud using the Phoenix here, it's something that can be countered easily.
This is a massive rematch for Loud. If they could beat PRX here, send them home, have a chance to go for a run in a finals, and maybe get Sadak that second trophy, it would be incredible. But PRX, they always show up at the right time.
Well, let's go ahead and get this elimination match underway and send it over to your casters, and they live for the drama. It's Bren and Sideshow.
Yeah, we definitely do. I mean, there's plenty of it here. This is an elimination game. Loud versus PRX. Without a doubt, one of these teams is going to be going home, exiting earlier than they potentially hoped for here in Madrid. And it's a weird one in terms of the expectations, to be honest, Josh. I mean, you're writing down, going over storylines, whatever, putting a large focus. But for both of these teams, feeling like maybe they've got something to prove here, but maybe not so much for PRX.
I think at the very beginning, this is set up to be an explosive game. The Des pointed out that neither of these teams are playing meta, and both teams love to fight. QCK immediately has just spotted 3 people over towards tiles.
We got lucky that we didn't quite miss the action there getting into the game, because
both of these teams are so fast.
Yeah, slow pause as well, just off the rip, waiting for the reaction of PRX. And look at this, there is that reaction. Loud wandering and wading into mid, trying to go for the double setup, just swinging into it now with the fault line to set this one up. They want to try and take the brawl, and it's a delayed fight, honestly. At 1 minute, who can really call it? This is it, the damage now, finally. Bullets peppering through, and blind as a bat does not matter for Kawazine. There needs to be the response, and it's there. PRX coming out swinging. Heads have been found here, straight to the cranium. The shots, that's a little bit messy. Still, the job getting done. QCK, last one standing. Players are weak, walking right into him, but the instant trade. And so a pistol round for PRX, a highlight being focused on by the desk, talking about how much these pistol rounds matter for both of these teams. They're leading in terms of that metric here in Madrid, but it's PRX who are the victors.
And guess who comes out on top throughout all of that? Being able to bail his team out of a rough situation. From top mid, against a tiles crunch, essentially. It's Forsaken, the guy who's been clearly, in my opinion, the best player for PRX at this tournament. I don't think he was during kickoff. I don't think he always has been, but he is right here, right now. Getting him online, getting something online, major win conditions in a match like this where we're expecting so much of this to be brawly. I mean, Loud immediately taking a gamble in round 2, going for a mid-exploration.
Might be caught by Mindfreak. I mean, Mindfreak only has the Sheriff. Plenty of shots. Rattled away. Narrowly missing the heads here. Snakebite dropped down, vulnerable. Calzine's holding some util out into his hand. Doesn't know which direction. Flash through. There it is. The follow-up and double face. Might be cleaned up, though, here by Devi. Should be, at least. Nice reactions, yeah. Beautiful business. At this point, though, no real chances for Loud. It looks like to really win this round, but a good chance to highlight really how important winning that pistol round. And this follow-up as well is for them. I mean, PRX and Loud with these comps, very ult generation heavy. They want to try and get these ultimates online, their attack sites. They want to go for these big XX with them. They've got util, they want to dump it into these sites alongside the ultimates.
Yeah, and I think they're going to turn Ascent into an attack-sided map as well. It's one of the reasons I think that QCK's gone back to the Phoenix here rather than the Yoru they were dabbling with. They know the PRX are running this comp without a Sentinel anyway. They're not worried about a Cypher or being able to get into the sites. It is truly a bizarre situation we find ourselves in. Very different from Meta's past when these two teams clashed. But they have been here through thick and thin and through all the metas in Valorant.
Don't get me wrong, I mean, PRX have never been standard, even on Ascent.
That's very true.
Playing their Reina Harbor comp.
They're not standard on any of the 3 maps we have today.
And who knows which direction it's going to go into. Kawazine taking a peek and a wonder. Will get at least punished for it. Head taken clean off. Less. 3 peeks. Plays looking away, but a nice double face at PRX, making sure that they clean up those mistakes. And now the smoke's dropped down. More exploration into mid. Only a stinger, so Forsaken can't quite take a peek, but will they clear this corner? The peek angle, Sadak might just be able to react in time. He's not going to push it. He's just holding for it. 2 years. Anticipating some sort of reaction there. Something now. He's in a forward, close position. Sadak lucky to be alive there with the util out into his hands, but finally with the Paranoia Ascent flying. Follow through with Devi. Watching all the appropriate angles and avenues of the plant down 2 versus 2.
Cover going out. PRX are going to be able to pull a lot of time off the clock here, even if Loud are successful.
Only in the smoke, flash around the corner, but it's an empty site. Fully evacuated. Wall up. This is cheeky. Devi now has to get a move on, pushing forwards. QCK half on the board, finds the first kill. 1 versus 1. Can he win it? It's a gamble! Has he got it? Time? Just about! And that's from that half he got prior. Holy!
What a clutch from QCK. Now that is going to obliterate the Loud economy, because it was a bonus round for PRX. But still, to be able to find the 1v2 there, defending the wall against Devi. Look, he comes off it just at the perfect time to be able to grab that one. But like I said, it's a bit of a Pyrrhic victory. Loud cannot buy into the next. So despite the fact they get on the board, PRX achieve their goals, essentially. And already, we're seeing an attack-sided operator come online for something.
He loves to pull it out.
He's the strangest Gecko player you will ever watch. Do not study his VODs if you're trying to learn Gecko in your ranked games.
Been watching some old Kang footage.
Yeah.
They really do love to opt into it.
He's also got a vendetta against Dizzy. He tosses him away and doesn't ever pick him back up.
Contacting in could be spelling his own defeat and doom here. There's a judge. Close to the corner, Sadak. Real specialist with that regard. Here we go, Thrash forwards, wants to take the fight. Stray shots flying through. Pellets for no kill. Only the damage being done. Munyet now fast onto the approach here. Have to cancel that off for a bit of info. Devi. And they have taken tree control. Looking to slip into the back here. Now QCK has a rifle and he's watching for this. No swings yet, just holding for the right time. He's might freak with that one, with the pause being called. I mean, PRX, this is bit of nuance being added into their own gameplay here. 2 left standing, double face into heaven. That was the real threat, which was QCK with that rifle. With him dealt with, it looks like a sealed up, done deal, detained. You might see some knife action swinging around. We won't make the London reference again, but listen, you know the deal.
For a knife kill, I mean, it wasn't even a knife kill, but for the knives to be coming out for PRX in round 4, Yeah, this is going to tick all the boxes.
I think it speaks massively, I think, to their mentality coming into this. I mean, Alex did a fantastic interview, really going in deep in terms of the mentality of PRX as a team. They were saying they'd be happy if they just got one win at this event.
One win?
They're treating it as almost like just a practice boot camp. And so the fact that they've made playoffs, they're playing with house money. You might not think that's much, honestly, if you're listening to that as a viewer at home, but I tell you now, there is no team more dangerous than a team with nothing to lose.
Yeah. And a team that's readjusted their expectations. Oh, this is a great idea from PRX. They're making it feel like it's full A main exec, and they've got Monyet so deep into tree already. Faking as if everybody's coming towards A main.
Rapid here with a Nightfall as well. Sound cue's cut away. It's going to be breaking the glass, and already in their faces. More. They know that they've got a couple of trails, so that's why the nade's rebounding under, below, sees, connects, but there it is. Nade just wrapping around and collecting onto 2 years. Too much to deal with. Rocket in your face. But yet, eager to really prove his worth. High and mighty now, one player left standing. You don't need me to say it, you can hear the crowd chanting. QCK.
I don't think he's got any intention of allowing the ace to occur. QCK's miles away from it. What a beautiful setup, though, for PRX. I don't think PRX get enough credit for the way that they set up some of their tactical stuff, because they move so quickly and so fluidly, people just assume it's very intuitive and there isn't too much thought really going on. That round, they're making it feel like a big A exec. All of the utility is coming through A, and Monyet finds the timing down mid. When you're a defender on Ascent, if you see utility being piled into A main and you're playing in like tree or grass, you are going to focus on A main. You expect it to be 4 or 5 people coming from that direction. And so the fact that PRX have 2 going through as an A split, even though they're not throwing utility for those people splitting it, absolutely ruins this defense. The small adjustments that they make are lovely. But I feel like we've seen this team evolve over the course of this tournament.
They have, yeah.
I'm completely sure that Alex is telling the truth when he says that when they came into this, they were only looking for one win. And I was watching them in kickoff, and frankly, I wasn't that impressed with what I was seeing from PRX.
No, it was very slapdash, you know,
Yeah.
they were throwing ideas into the mix. It looked like they were really just improvising.
And just to pull another quote from that exact same interview that you referenced, Brett, Alex, the coach, said, "We have problems that we need to fix. There's too little time, too much to do. We've been carried by our individual performances, in my opinion, rather than good gameplay and good Valorant." But to me, actually, some of that incredible individual performance has bought them enough time to start figuring out what is working for them. And they get into a match like this, and I don't think they are underdogs. I actually think that both teams could win on any of the 3 maps that we have here. And it's so difficult to predict because they play such off-meta styles. You know, when are either of these teams going to be practicing for what the other person is doing? There's
Never.
Nobody plays like Loud and nobody plays like PRX.
Yeah. So a blistering pace to begin here from PRX, but throwing enough nuance into their own game plans that it doesn't quite feel like the old textbook, the old documents being read out aloud. They've had that time now to reinvent themselves ever so slightly. Now, Loud, with that timeout, we're heading into the half-buy. They're going to have time to think about some of the mistakes, the adjustments. Probably not going to be seeing them active here.
And I think one of the things that you're seeing from Loud is that they're very willing to fight forwards. You see the angle that Kawanzin is currently playing at. Think about Sadek with the judge, Kawanzin playing market aggressively. They want to contest PRX and not just give them space. But finding those timings and being able to match the tempo of a team like PRX is quite difficult.
Okay.
Especially if they're hitting timing shots like that.
Just off the cue of the flash. 2 players are left stacked now. Cad is being watched. You can see something. He's got his eye on it. Anticipating that there might be that reflank with a minute on the mark here for the round. Definitely time to play with. Definitely time to work around. But if they do walk into the Bucky, there is some level of danger here. I mean,
Sadek can't really escape, though.
no, but Mindfreak is way ahead of the pack, so I don't think he's going to get traded, and he isn't. So Sadek's still stuck here. Might have to use util. Nade drop down as well. This guy is now a nuisance. A thorn in their side. He's buying them time, and the mosh pit has to be committed. Force him out wide into the open. Still alive, by the way.
Monyet, he walked in through A main.
Okay, well, he's found that timing from the classic. Okay, a heaven position. 2 years. He's got his, and now it is a little bit messy and scrappy.
But
Words I use.
But Monyet lurked in through A main, and now Davai is lurking in through B main. So because Loud are playing this composition, oh my god, what a shot! Because Loud are playing the comp without the Sentinels that doesn't play spread around the map, that needs to group up and fight and peek for info, PRX are finding those lurk timings real nicely.
They didn't get ahead of themselves, did they? Didn't get flustered when Sadak got that initial kill. They managed to get themselves into an advantage position, arguably here, lit up a beacon pointing directly towards in a double face. There's no hesitation in the player PRX there.
No, I don't think that they were anticipating the Horn coming out, though. Forsaken being deep on the B site, they just weren't ready for that Horn lineup in the slightest. Bear in mind that this was a light buy round, so it wasn't the most danger in the world. That timeout that you were talking about, Ren, that Loud took, that's for the rifle round coming up here. Yeah. And we can see that QCK is going for an operator, so you've got the Phoenix op online. Get your bingo cards out. Did you have that one down? Phoenix op versus Gecko op.
There's no chance. Just no chance at all. Fast though, a lot of util now being dumped straight into main. Instant response though, that was a paranoia fragment.
Yeah, actually so much utility being used there by Loud because every other team would cancel after they get full 5-person hit by the KO knife, but not PRX. They will still try to apply pressure to you, trying to look for that timing. So Loud forced to use more utility than you would normally expect, but just giving so much respect.
Did the TP. Must have.
Certainly thinking about it, wasn't he?
Yeah, almost expecting it now, and a call's been made here. Sadak, a re-clear into mid. Possibly some util to set this one up with the Prowler. PRX going to be aware. Nade going wide here, but yet no one to cover! Kawazine! Disgusting work, and QCK would have followed through.
Here are the lurkers. 1-3-1 default for PRX. It's on Mindfreak or something to try to find timings. The spike dropped, makes everything way more difficult.
Whoa, what a shot.
Yeah, he does find that opening.
Let's see if this gets work here. Being defended up into mid, crouched, tucked into the corner. That's Sadak. He's essentially alone in this spot. They've doubled up through main. Now he's crouched. He does find that angle and fight. So 1v3 looks just less and less likely. Yeah, it is running and gunning. Okay, saves the day there for Loud. Finally getting that second one on the board.
And Loud choosing to try to fight over mid. I think they're getting the read now. After the timeout, the PRX are playing pretty heavy from mid. And with the Viper wall that Loud goes for, they have the advantage over fighting that cat kind of area.
Yeah.
You see where the Viper wall goes? Well, assuming that Les throws the same one in this round. And you see that Loud can double up with Tui's Sadak and trying to fight over that area. Now, you know, yeah, there it is. There's the wall going down at the beginning of the round. A judge for Sadak, as is
tradition.
Classic.
As is tradition. Loves to pull it out. Big ults now being earned and built up here for Loud as well. Plenty in the war chest. A main control, B main control. Heavy priority here for Loud because they know how close PRX are to a few of these big ultimates. That's a nice one. QCK punishes that one. Mindfreak usually going to be the lurking player.
I like that Loud swap it up. Previous round they were playing heavy for mid. Now they're playing heavy for the outsides of the map. And Sadak, he's used the ult there. I'm not exactly sure what pressure that was off, but he certainly thought something was happening.
Did indeed Forsaken. Oh my, looked all the way up. Does Kawazine even expect this? No, he's backing away. Silent jumps up though. I don't think Forsaken knows that he's backed away from the angle. He's waiting for time, honestly, making a lot of noise on both sides of the map. There's a thrash, and Munyet just making it feel like it could be present over towards any direction. The QCK layers down with a volley, but a TP forwards to just get right past it. Devi slunk his way into the site, but can he follow up with this kill here? There's so much going on all over the place.
Yeah, Forsaken lurking through mid, caught though, and now Munyet becomes the other lurker.
25 seconds left. He loses this duel at 2 years. Critical one at that. Even no gaps here into the play. Judge right in his face, and operator as well. The barrel practically in his mouth.
That is a bizarre round for PRX, but you can see that they're very clearly trying to work their lurkers into position. It's just that none of them actually found any success. Alex is calling a timeout here and might want to readjust the game plan to have less of the lurk plays going on. But to be honest, look, Forsaken's got a chance of making something happen there. I don't think Kawazine knows that he's around. And if Munyet is able to win the duel against Tui's, these lurkers are finding opportunities, but when they lose their duels, it looks stupid. It looks like they were just destined to fail. But with PRX's style, if they win that fight, suddenly there's a gap in the defense, and PRX are very opportunistic. They do tend to exploit those fairly well. So certainly a weird round, not a successful one for PRX on their attack side. but indicating a little bit of their game plan that Alex might try to adjust.
Good time to talk about Loud's expectations, I think, heading into this entire series, right?
Yeah.
It's a team that are eager to try and take that battle again against Sentinels, who have just been knocked down into the lowers.
Yeah.
So winning this matchup would guarantee that rematch. And
For the fourth time this year.
Exactly. You know Loud are eager for it. They've been shut down, put down the most recent 2 attempts. It was a very close series the last time those two teams played. So listen, they're going to be looking to try and pave that way to redemption. Bit of revenge maybe on the cards too.
And both of these squads had to retool in the offseason after losing a superstar player. You lost Aspas for Loud, you lost Jing for PRX. Alex was talking about how difficult it's been readjusting to life post-Jing. Loud were nose to the grindstone immediately. Started in October, only taking about a month break after Champs, and tried to reinvent themselves, find this new style. And this is what they've settled on.
Hello. Brawl to be taken here. This is an onslaught approaching from every single direction, and nobody can hang on. PRX didn't stand a chance. They're the ones that's supposed to be going for the W gaming.
And such a classic, great idea from Loud. You come out of your opponent's timeout and run a set play to steal the tempo. And they've wiped the floor with PRX. An absolutely flawless round. You'll see that so often. It's a great idea. Your opponent takes a timeout. They clearly want to adjust something about their attack style. And you say, right, well, we're just going to force the fight to them. And they go for a bit of a tiles crunch there, punishing a very wide jumping by Monye. And ruining everybody over towards B.
Yeah, PRX players left reeling.
Devi going for the glass cannon Vandal in this round. So the economy in a weird spot. That is an unusual thing to opt for. Been watching the Haodong VODs.
Yeah, apparently. And China gets wild with those. Strange economical purchases. Still, Prowler here setting it up. Disrespect by something. Look at this guy. He's up onto the angle. Doesn't care that he stand up. Hits it with a second shot. Finally, the second bullet. Dashing in with the satchel. And he's upset the aim entirely. Kawazine didn't know which way to look, didn't know which way to aim. Opens up the sight now for the plant. His post-plant positions of PRX pretty sublime. Devi falling. Only chances here.
QCK is going to be ulting back in potentially with only an op to work with.
Dropping wall down in his face, Molly. Oh, goodness me. How does that one catch? Everybody's giving this up, it looks like. What is that? Hello. 2 years. Chasing him over extension. Now, I don't think there's any chances. Listen, surely time is running out, but handing these kills just over to him.
And considering the PRX's economy was not amazing to come into this round, these are not fantastic kills to be given in the other direction, but it won't make too much difference because we're so close to the end of the half.
Yeah. Maybe a 200 IQ player didn't see how close they were to the ultimates, but maybe they're like, okay, let's just feed our life away. 2 years has already got it. Let's try and build up ours.
What a way of entering, right? Monye skipping, jumping into the site, and the spacing perfect for the trade. That, coordination not quite as good there. We'll keep an eye on that.
Did him dirty.
Oh, you know the camera operators are watching for every one of those
Hunting
situations.
for it, yeah.
Kawazine set up with the Odin here to spam into B main.
Face your fear!
Early knife fall. This is an attempt of a fake, but the early knife gives it away. Only one tag. That's going to be onto Forsaken, so the goal of that really to try and make a fake play over towards A. Cut away to sound cues. Odin spam spraying through. They are getting absolutely destroyed here. Yes, something managed to win his one, at least through the main angle. Alter now with that showstopper, wants to send it and let it rip. Rolling Thunder cannot save you away from that one. It's explosive, high-octane action, but an adjustment there. Beautiful by 2 years. Really just expecting that reposition, and it's about catching the tempo and the timings here, walking right into it, but misses the opportunity. 2 years. Jump spots, gets a bit of additional information.
Good patience, though, not trying to force the fight in this situation, because they have a player advantage to go for the retake. This is going to take effort from Forsaken and something to clutch this out.
Feels confident enough to use the Thrash here to try and clear his way forwards. Popping up onto the boxes. Forsaken going walkabouts towards Tree, leaves it. Now 1v3. QCK's on the flank. Should be unwinnable. Blind as anything. Hasn't given it away, though. Still was holding the shift key this entire time, but if he opens himself too wide, QCK's already there. Justin, did he see anything? Not too sure. Call being made, jumping down, and there it is. The kill found.
Very competitive half that we've had so far here. PRX have found some opportunities to burst into the site, but the more that they default, the more Loud are picking them apart, I think. You saw there a cute idea from PRX, like you said, going for that fake play. But the exec wasn't quite coordinated as well as you would hope for. Certainly not compared to the previous round, where Forsaken was right behind Monyet on the entry. Perhaps lacking that fade in terms of the pressure that they put onto B. Final round of the half, chances to tie this up, but PRX's economy in the dirt.
Oh, yeah.
Compared with double op setups I saw for a moment there on Loud. They'd probably toss them on the floor, looking to play them in the early game.
A heavy stack of Loud as well. They can play over towards A because Les has got the pit down. Not being contested. He was assisted with an early fault line of Kawazine. Look at QCK, he's not worried about it.
No, he's not. I mean, they don't, you know, you would be a little cautious in this situation for some pop flashes through the smoke or this kind of thing, but he's not worried.
Nice shot, 2 years. Expecting it from the high ground angle. QCK. Ball thrown at them. Still, it's back to a multitude of players now, and he's got to try and at least put up that wall to try and prevent them from getting past it. 2 years repositioned, still with the operator, and it's PRX who are the ones who aren't coming up with really any of the appropriate answers. Double smokes out to try and get themselves into position, but it's being spammed with the rifle at work. Hopes and dreams placed onto the end of the barrels, and everything stolen away from them. So evened up. Loud doing a miraculous job there, honestly, bringing it to 6-6.
I think this map is probably going to be a little attack-sided. I think it bodes fairly well for Loud that they were able to pick up so many rounds towards the end of that. It's a game of 2 halves there. Oh, brutal. But I think the adjustments looked nice. 2Es with the operator on Omen ended up playing really well.
He's getting tremendous value, putting in work. Well, earlier we spoke to QCK just before this match. Let's hear from it.
Sou o Gabriel, mais conhecido como QCK, atualmente duelista da Loud. Não sei muito específico o que eles tiveram de diferente, mas talvez eles tiveram mais momentos dentro do jogo, conseguiram otimizar esses momentos e ganhar rounds chaves que quebravam a economia ou faziam um snowball de ult, e aí o jogo foi um pouco complicado. Falar sobre isso logo depois da derrota é complicado, tô me sentindo triste, sentimento ruim, mas o campeonato ainda não acabou, a gente tem muito para mostrar ainda, então sem muitas delongas, vamos pro próximo jogo. Sendo bem sincero, não importa, perder é perder, independente de round. Perder por um round ou por 14 é a mesma coisa, é derrota do mesmo jeito.
Oh man, it's looking more likely. Finally fades away and he's back into it, but here it is. The follow-up. With all the rifles online.
He doesn't have the time.
My God.
Eu não vim para substituir ninguém, eu só sou um novo jogador do time. O time se tornou um time novo, com novas formas de jogar, novas composições, então acredito que estou me saindo bem. Não sei se é confiança a palavra, mas traz um conforto por você jogar com pessoas que já lidaram com essas frustrações antes. Então a gente vai lidar da melhor forma possível. A gente já venceu times com esse estilo de jogo, então a gente vai saber lidar com eles.
Really interesting insight into QCK and his ideas. You know, he's coming into this team. Obviously, a lot of players saying, and a lot of players, fans watching it, saying, well, he's replacing Aspas. He has to fill those shoes. But no, he's talking about how they've reinvented the team kind of around him, this new style that they've come forwards with. And there's parity there between them and PRX. PRX have had to do the exact same thing, missing Jing, one of their best players.
But I feel like Monyet is filling in Jing's shoes a little more. They haven't adjusted that style yet. And that's probably one of the things that's had the confidence knocked for PRX, is that they haven't really figured out what the new team identity is. The deeper they go in this tournament, the more they'll be learning about themselves.
Yeah.
6-6 at the half. Both QCK and Monyet playing well individually so far. But Loud's composition is devastatingly effective when it comes to site executes. So I'd expect PRX to be doing their classic style of trying to disrupt things before you allow your opponents to ever get into an exec.
Deep delayed knife. Monyet was tagged, but he did not care. Still holds his ground.
Interesting that PRX have gone for a defensive wall that allows them to, you know, contest mid as well. So they're not worried about Loud's wall.
Giving up that presence. Loud now opting to just contact in through A. And it's an open site, it's a free site. It seems to be a bit of a read. Look at them, they're just fast on the approach. Maybe just hearing those sound cues out towards tree, but they've closed the door in their faces. A bit of stray damage. Sadak is going to be safe though. Safe and sound, able to get that plant down.
They need reinforcements quickly. Their PRX are apt to flood defend. Kawansee no less are still really far away.
A pause in the play, a bit of a break in the timing, at least taking one yet. Still with that nade now. Does he choose to use it? Fragment. First wave of it being used out. Here it sends it. Paranoia go flying along with the Dizzy. Swarming into the side. Yeah, 3 players into hell. Anything to clear this one. Might have to just jump in. It's a beautiful smoke. 2 is using it to just divide up this side as well, and it's making it more than difficult. Damn difficult. Have on a defuse. Might make a difference. PaperX mind free. Going forwards. Right click. Away. An absolute bundle differential. Something running. A mockery. Straight through main. Plenty of time available to them. Beautiful. Flawless with the execution of that one.
I don't know how he's managed to pull that one out. 3 players in hell with the smoke set up. The spike is planted for them. Very clear game plan.
Yeah, of course it's favorite.
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah. Look at that thing. It shoots different.
Sale numbers up. Get the chart out, Leo. Get the chart out.
Why is there a dinosaur? Don't know. Don't care. Go
cool. It looks cool.
Yeah, that's a nasty round from Mindfreak. Nothing more to it, really, is there? Loud had a game plan. It got dismantled by some right clicks from the Classic.
Sometimes it be like that. You
really
get shot, you die.
So again, PaperX being able to win the pistol round, right? They won the first.
Yeah.
And one of the things the desk was talking about, Kakuka was saying, that they didn't really get much else in their prior game.
Taste of their own medicine. It's not Sadak who's going to be receiving it, though, but Kawansee and 2 grouped up side by side.
They can pivot this quickly into a B split, though.
Contacting, punish for that. Could try and pivot, but not now.
They couldn't get away. They simply couldn't get away from something with this judge.
Chasing them down. And into mid as well. Pistols out now. Wants to take the long range fight. You know the players are tucked into the corner. There it is, cleared out. Last one to stand here. So an important beginning really for PaperX. I mean, again, we talk about these comps. We expect them to be attack-sided. Big execute, generating these ults. It's a clear game plan for both of these teams. PaperX winning this pistol and a follow-up eco. You know, relatively cleanly. I mean, the economy is flourishing after this. They can come into this bonus looking nice and strong.
And just to talk about how Loud got anti-stratted so heavily during kickoff by EG, part of that was a Cypher, which doesn't exist for PaperX. Part of it was a double Odin buy, which we might see later on in the half, so keep your eyes open for that. And the other part was playing disruptively before Loud could get into execs. I think this is a perfect round to go for that more aggressive, disruptive defense.
That's a lot of util, isn't it?
It's a lot of util, but it's all a fake. It's to make you feel like they're fighting over A. And PaperX already out there, looking to try to catch a reposition elsewhere on the map. Now, Loud have just decided to slowly contact re-clear this area, which is a serious gamble, but they have called the bluff of PaperX perfectly. What a read.
Not sure who that is on the team. Give it to Sadak for now. Nade into the corner. Devai almost getting spammed down, losing his life. But here we are. Another close plan situation. Loud will be getting this plant down with no real pushback.
Don't put 3 in hell again, though.
No, probably not. Playing up close, though. QCK in front of the smoke.
Careful now.
Only laid down. Backing away. Now, PaperX did use a lot of that util just in the beginning of that round, so I don't know how much they've got now for this retake attempt. Weaponry's not too ideal either, but Dizzy does the work. 3 revealed and suppressed out there. Forsaken is just in their faces now. Still trying to double up into hell.
Against the judges.
He's pushing them back as well, and there's just random spam and spraying through. PaperX, man! Running them through. And still now to sticking on. Broken. Destroyed in the process. Man's there, ready to try and pick up the pieces of this fight, but Carry set the aim in time. Something dropped.
Little bit of danger. Pretty decent damage, considering that that was a bonus round. But Loud do come out on top.
One enemy remaining.
So he just managed to get enough kills from 2Es, holding out in A main, supporting the rest of his team. And so here we see 1 Odin being picked up for PaperX. This is what their setup's going to look like a little more often. That's over towards B main. Now, Les is usually going to be trying to take B main control, and the Odin's powerful there. But actually, we're seeing a fight on the exact opposite side of the map. He's so aggressive with the op.
Just takes it to him. And that's because Loud, you know, they're waiting for these right timings. And they think that they're ready for it. I mean, they're holding that with a lot of players. But something just too quick with it, man. Too quick with it. 8 rebounds close to the corner. That's Munya hoping to catch a player that might have just repositioned there.
What I love about something is he's so good with Gecko's mobility utility, the legs.
Yeah, I love the way he presses 3 on the keyboard. And pulls out the knife just to run away. Oh, he does it better than anybody.
Divide does not have a paranoia to play off here. He's got to rely on the Thrash.
Yeah, he's using the Thrash to trying to set this up here. Good return on the fire there from Sadak.
Down A.
Gets the trade-off at least, attainment into the corner, so it slowed them down once more, but 50 seconds left into the round. No prior map control here for Loud.
Yeah, they've stacked everything in a fight over towards A main. They're losing it, and now PRX have 3 players ready to collect.
Deep orb. Placed by Less. Trying to use this to try and get themselves into position. That spam, the spray, a few stray bullets, TP forwards into the mix of things. But listen, Munya inside the smoke, Loud, paving the way forwards here. It's brute force, it seems to be the name of the game, but only one player will stand. Sadak, the IGL, does not stand a chance there. Collected onto the position.
And this is a very classic round by Loud. They realize that their composition is extremely good at A executes. So they try to dominate A main at the start of these rounds with 4 or 5 players. And even if you know that they're going A, their comp is very, very difficult to stop once they send a big exec into you. But before they can even start to take A main control, something's already run out and got a pick at the very beginning of the round on their duelist player who has an ult to try to entry.
The tempo just at those extremities, man. I mean, it's a clear win con. And, you know, funnily enough, it reminds me of when PRX played against Gen G in the regional finals. And Gen G absolutely counter-stratted the ever-loving sugar out of them. And they were going for the heavy extremity control because the comps operate in very similar manners. They were disrupting that tempo.
Yeah. And I think Loud's comp does struggle the more you force it to split through mid and try to take map control, these kind of things. It doesn't have, for example, a Fade or a Sova to be able to use drone utility or a recon to clear out close corners. It's much better at being able to get these big retakes, big execs going. Loud are skilled enough, talented enough to adjust the game plan on the fly, but they're always going to be limited by what the comp is good at versus what it's not good at. I think PRX has got a nice read here. It's also great to see something, hitting shots, feeling aggressive, going for plays. Because I feel like outside of one awesome game against Karmine Corp, he hasn't quite been at the top level that I expect from him.
He's a very confidence-driven player, I think, as well. I mean, if you take a gander at any of the PRX vlogs as well, you see it. You know, he wears his heart in his sleeve, actually.
Yeah.
He has to be picked up on a frequent basis. You know, confidence around him, being the support staff and the players, his teammates. But when he has good games, you know, this guy is just unleashed.
Yeah, he's phenomenal. Well, they know where he's positioned at the moment, and that's where you should expect the op to play. Many flashes to try to push him off the line.
So to try and defend the line as well. Bit of Odin spam and spray through. Jumping spot, you do not survive that apparently. It's a nice attempt and a nice clear runs, but still, as they're trying to swarm the positions, they're getting absolutely pounded with artillery. Lesto. 1 HP, man, 1 HP. And maybe more than a dream. He's managed to bring this to a 2v2. Doesn't have the spike though, that was dropped down a little bit earlier.
Look how bold Forsaken is. He just jumped up on the same spot with a classic in hand. 2Es? He's seen him!
Just ulted up there and he just sees him crouched.
That's unreal!
Knee or an elbow, I'm not too sure, but it just pokes out here. It's on the other side of the map.
And he's thinking, how on earth have my team lost this? What's going on?
There's no shot. I mean, Less, of course, being a difference maker. Now, they don't know where Munya is.
They have no idea. And PRX are the kind of team to over-rotate a little on defense, so they assume that he's close.
30 seconds
Now
left.
Monyet's wondering, well, where have they gone? Because if they were just on B, surely they would have got the plant down.
Incredibly winnable with how low these 2 players are for Munya.
He could kill them both with 1 nade.
Exactly. The nade, and not just that, went away from the showstopper for he really wanted to try and seal the deal. Here it is. He's got a lot to clear here, but maybe gifted yet. Bit of that information. Pulls out the rifle, expecting the re-swing. Both the players are towards the back of the site now. A smoke. Drop down, classic out. Thinks twice against it, thinks second against it. Boombot forwards, that's gonna have to be broken. Nade, rebounds, out wide, and now he's just firing. Here's the rocket, talked about it earlier. Pre-fires in the corner, but he guesses incorrectly, and now he's left wondering, which way is Tuyas? How did he reposition? Time, ticking, shortly getting away from him. He thinks he's behind the boxes. A miscom perhaps away from it. Tuyas wins it out, and a Mastercard thrifty.
What a wild way to end that round. I'm really unsure how it even got to that point, frankly, but you could just see the mind games between both of those players. The less information there was available, the more it favored Les and Tuyas.
Watch them run.
Just a walk in through B main. And this one.
One enemy remains.
Who ults into that spot?
Unheard of. Truly unheard of.
God, that's a face of
It's scary.
resignation almost.
It's a
on
scary
Alex's
face, isn't it?
He's normally a little more animated than that.
Be practicing stoicism or mewing, not too sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Either inspired by Marcus Aurelius or Sigma males.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very similar, actually, very similar. So Loud now in a great position, right? Having won that round, it just turns the whole of Ascent, at least this half, on its head. Their economy is now flourishing, right? They're going to be in a position where they've got a good economic bank to work with. And they're also coming into this round with a huge rifle advantage, starting to get up to big ults. This is where Loud's attack side comp looks so scary, even though they're one round behind in reality.
That's when they start to come alive. This spot here, it's how pivotal that last round was for PRX to end up winning it out. The weak goodbye for Saken. How much is he really going to be able to do here with a runner back facing him? QCK going to be making sure to clear all the available corners. Has a bit of util to set him up. Knife out. One to the cranium. Does drop that one. Here we go. Second go of things. Saken doing quite well in that position there, but only going even here. 4 versus 4, but he has more time for the fast rotate.
And everybody on Loud playing on-site post plans. You know, even if Loud are able to get this, PRX can make it extremely expensive just by holding B main and the defense spawn.
Being cleared out now. Smoke propped up. Pre-firing up to the sky. Expecting Dizzy. Ozine though, now defaulting over towards the foul line, using that util to try and delay, but you are right, this could get pricey very, very quickly. Dizzy, broken. You're in there with the protocols, and now just Loud to realize they have to really just barrel their way through this one. They are being penned in here with the guns, should be favored. Almost nice with the movement there from Divide, but shut down there. 2 players surviving from Loud, 9-9, even scoreline.
And Loud keep enough players alive that they do still have that cushion to work with. Tuyas can drop Sadak, and they've got a good buy going with some spare cash to float around. It's Loud's ults that now become an issue for PRX. The more you let them get set up to go for example, the Rolling Thunder, the more difficult it's going to be. I'm looking at the minimap, and PRX look poised to go for some serious A-main aggression.
That puts the pressure on Mindfreak, doesn't it?
Yeah, because as soon as Sadak calls that, they're going to be running into the pit, I would imagine.
Drop down, knife, spam into the corner. Mindfreak already dropped down to 50. Never mind, he's dead.
He's gone.
Finished. Dealt with.
And now, to be honest, Loud have no reason to immediately go into a B-site hit. Right? They know that PRX are very fast on defensive rotations. They cleared out Gelato early. Loud can just pump the brakes here and allow PRX to spread out a little bit around the map, or even force them into making a play that they can punish.
No commands. Smoke off the timing for it. Just trying to block off B main here. Molly sent flying into the smokes available here. Ready with the spam. Damage being done. Sadak barely alive, but does return the fire. Forsaken still.
What a
tucked
spot.
into the side. Yeah, but not going to be clear potentially, but faced by too many targets in opposition. This time storming into the site. It's going to be gained for them with that territory. Loud now. Reload of the Odin. 2 players left alive here. Munyet though has got us back to all the available players. Flash is really quite excellent, peeking through it. So now Loud taking that lead, 10-9. We talked about it, that danger zone for them, but this is how the comp operates, how it works.
And you can see the PRX are trying to disrupt it. If that had been Loud taking a main control at the start of the round instead of B main control, then they would have had an enormous clash in Gelato.
Yeah.
And who knows who would have come out on top. But PRX kind of gambled incorrectly. They were going for the hard read. Loud do tend to favor the A site with the way that they call their attack sides. And it just happened to be the wrong one. They were hoping that Mindfreak could hold stuff down on the B side of the map, and Les has got the read just inside his head. I think both of these teams struggled a little bit to be able to impose their will on the defense side, but what we saw from Loud on defense was that they actually found those rounds to be able to catch PRX doing something. And we're not really seeing that when the sides are flipped. PRX are going for a lot of early round aggression instead of mid-round aggression, and I think that timing difference has ended up being quite important for them. It's easier to read when it's just straight off the rip.
Yeah, it is.
I main Sova on Lotus.
I mean, honestly, there's worse things to play. There are worse things to play.
Yeah, yeah.
I've seen it firsthand.
Like League of Legends.
Okay. He said it, not me. I can hear cackling from the desk, man.
All right.
Elimination game.
PRX are in a tough position here, though. They really are. It's about to spiral out of control. Forsaken's not really found opportunities to have his will imposed upon the game. And he snuck up to try to take fights. Grabs one, and he gets out.
Forsaken scot-free, man.
He's the player that's been the difference maker this tournament, and he wants more!
Oh, punished for the jump spot.
So punished for that.
Two players waiting for him to just make that kind of mistake with the paranoia flash over the top. There was a bit of a team blind, but on site control for them, and now fighting towards Market. Something dropped dead. Difficult spot the PRX are being put into here. So the fact that Loud are just getting into these sites, obviously it gets a half by PRX, but they're not having to use ultimates doing it. They can save them now for when PRX have a bit of a buy round, the money's back into an orderly and sensible fashion.
PRX here. Again, the silver lining would be to apply enough pressure that the ults do get invested. It just doesn't seem likely, though.
No, it doesn't, does it?
And PRX's game plan has broadly been... Hello, we'll see. No, there's no danger here. PRX's game plan has broadly been to try to stack one of the sites and just kind of hope that Loud are going there.
One enemy remaining.
And the problem with that is, if you gamble incorrectly, Loud have just got into a post-plan situation.
Yeah.
And not just that, PRX are not playing the other side for full retake. They're playing it to still anchor with like one player. For example, when Mindfreak was inside his pit. Or here where Forsaken is trying to challenge B main alone for a cheeky kill. They're on the eco. But if you're gonna stack one side of the map super heavy, you're kind of forced to play full retake on the other. And just rely on your double initiator comp. At least something's enjoying himself out there. This is the round where PRX absolutely must get back in control if they have any chance of winning Ascent.
Need it. Angry positions here. I mean, the molly, maybe not 10 for that one, but just to slap it down onto the orb. Paranoia, blind, nade, rebounds, and we'll clear out a few of these players too. He is timely there with a TP.
But Loud are going for a lot of re-clears, right? We haven't seen them go for big rotates around the map. PRX are realizing that. The re-hits coming through.
And here it is rolling thunder. That will be a large
Divide dodged it.
I did dodge it, but there's a one-way smoke into his face. At least they deal with that, run it back. Divide, does he seek to try and disrespect this timing? Out and through, yes. The PRX players still holding their ground and basically rooted in place. And Les is now going to offload the pit to try and get them through. This is a call.
This is an amazing ult if you're planning to rotate and maybe split or go over to B. It's not that great for going into site, but it keeps a lot of players on site.
Using a Nightfall. 2 tags. Here and out, Prowler sent straight through tree, wondering if that split's coming through, but now with 40 seconds, Loud are happy to wait this one out, but which direction are they going to take it towards? A seems like a likely contender.
They've smoked for a B split though, so Forsaken's worried.
30 seconds left.
He's had to watch and peel himself away. Top of mid, eyes onto it, Munyet. Paranoia settling in. Devi inside the smoke, wants to rule that position and take names away from them.
What?
Picked up. He's right behind them.
What?
What is that kind of play? Still, heads are falling and so are the bodies. Toppling down. Time working against them now over the top and running around. Oh my God.
That is the most important round though that PRX could have secured in that moment. They got the read that it was over towards A. They're starting to figure out how Sadak's calling the attack side. Do you remember earlier on in this game, PRX were throwing huge utility into A main and then rotating away, expecting Loud to pivot. Do not want to hit a heavy site. And because Sadak's been going for re-clears and re-hits so often, PRX had stacked so heavily on that area. Now, if that has got to be Alex's reaction to 2Es making the play, because he had that one moment of despair and didn't follow up on it. 2Es is actually ready to counter-op something in B main. But something, for whatever reason, has got those tingles on the back of his neck. He knows it's not a great idea, but he's starting to creep a little closer.
Fuse has been spotted, tucked to the corner. Now it is OMEN, he can reposition here, but sets him up onto the line nevertheless, but now he's going to back away and respect it. Important to note, you know, we talked about it that previous round, but Loud did end up using 2 or 3 ultimates, something. Wall up in his face, contact plays, and he's out of there. Backing away, covering fire from Forsaken. Making sure the evacuation goes off without a hitch. Walking straight into the line of sight. It's something who's sniping them away, and precision across the board for PRX. Wiping out the opposition.
Awesome round. This has really turned the tables. It's only Cowanzine left alive. They know where he is. Trapped in a corner. He's going to have to duel 4 players to be able to get out of here.
Util and the stun.
He's just stuck.
No chance, so
11-11.
And the adjustments coming in handy.
Yeah, looking lovely. PRX don't try to contest super early. They've got like a slightly delayed op peek into B main, which is a nice timing to go for that. And they just catch this timing. Something is always a couple of seconds ahead of the play here. If he was a second slower peak in market, he might have died to QCK. If he was a second slower peak in B main, probably dies to 2Es. It's all about those tiny, fine margins. No hesitation.
Loud scratching their heads a little bit here, wondering how they can get that advantage. Now Les takes a load of damage off the rip, 61 health drop down.
Yeah, it's actually one of the first times we've seen Les try to solo take this area, and he's immediately dropped.
Yeah, I mean, a bit of a counterplay, I think, as well. Les usually throwing the orb from that angle.
Something makes it feel like it's the same setup in this round, which broadly speaking it is, by taking that op shot into market. And now it's actually caused Loud to pivot away. They do not want any of that smoke.
Crack of an angle. Devi turns away just at the right time. Flash in his face, backs away now holding the paranoia. Now there is no contact for this kind of play, so he's going to be backing away to the site and gives up control of Tree.
With all of this noise, something's getting on a more aggressive line, so if they try to go back into a B-split, it's going to be difficult.
Clear, just can't quite land the bullets. No way, this is overzealous potentially. Perhaps, maybe over-aggressive, but they're not expecting it still. They've sucked up that space right back away from them. Sadak, the sole survivor of a position into Tree, lays down the nade, but there's no follow-up. Flash now to re-peek. It's a nice one, at least to try and cook up on the fly, but PRX are online.
It's so reminiscent of their game against Karmine Corp. The late resurgence in the final rounds. It's looking excellent. Loud dragged 2 of the maps against Sentinels into overtime. Are they able to do the same here? The economy is not good. Their game plans through mid have been countered. But they were winning when they dominated one side of the map and went for the exec.
Oh, that's counter spam again! Les is trying to play it himself with the ult, and they're disrespecting him!
The same plays working out again for PRX. It's like they just run back the highlights of the previous rounds.
That's just insanity.
Forsaken spamming, as far as I can tell, the exact same line, and this time, Les goes down, something's feasting!
Little to no chance for Loud now, this map 1. It's going to be sealed up nice and pretty with a bow on top of it. For PRX, all the right adjustments at all the right time, but fuel to the fire just running out for Loud as well with his composition. They are struggling ever since they haven't been able to get those ults online, but Wingman sends him out flying. Quite connect, Kawazine seeking to try and pivot, but he can't break the door in time, has to reload too on top of this. And already something is there. Following the sound cues, jiggle it out, baits out the op shot at least, but right into the judge. Now Forsaken, trapped in the corner, but it matters not. It's a 1v5, it would have to be the play of 2 years' career to stand even a chance in hell. And for PRX, the leisurely walk is what it feels like. Happy and secure in the knowledge that they are just setting sail into the sunset. Happy as anything. Map 1 entirely wrapped up.
A beautiful late resurgence from PRX there, figuring out how to deal with Loud's attack side at the perfect moment. And Loud, I think, straying away from what was working for them in previous rounds, going instead for more of a play through mid, trying to get value out of the Viper Wall and connecting so often with the Judge, or primarily the Odin and the Op.
Absolute insanity, and guess what? We've got plenty more action left to come. Sunset on the cards. That is going to be a fantastic one. Two teams that are potentially evenly matched. It doesn't stop anywhere near here.
Excuse me, would you mind taking a picture of us?
Oh, no problem.
Thanks.
Yes, problem. You need Verizon. Trade in that old thing and get a new iPhone 15 Pro with tons of storage, so you can take all the pics. So many selfies.
A preposterous amount of panos!
That means panoramic. And as many portraits of me as your heart desires.
How about none?
None.
None, yeah, none feels right.
Trade in any iPhone in any condition and get iPhone 15 Pro and iPad and Apple Watch SE all on us. Only on Verizon.
Red Bull gives you wings.